Hello, everyone. Arun Venugopal of WNYC here. It's my pleasure to introduce the Center for Traditional Music and Dances series, Beat of the Boroughs, NYC Online. This online series features over 50 of New York's leading traditional instrumentalists, dancers, singers, poets, and more. From Mongolia to Haiti, Colombia to the Gambia, among many others, they remind us how the strength of our country lies in its embrace of diversity and immigration. We want to celebrate these remarkable members of the New York community in these challenging times. So please enjoy these 50 programs, share them with your friends, and spread the word. Enjoy the show.
Do what we can. If things get really messed up, we'll figure it out, but I think it'll be okay. All right. Cool. I'm just going to clap and we'll get everything. All right. Hello.
Hello.
It's great to see you, Eleonore. So I'm here with Eleonore Weill from Brooklyn, but originally from the south of France. You play flute, you play hurdy-gurdy, you sing in many different languages, and you play many different flutes. I mean, you should see the case she has for these things. You'd think she's got a bow and arrow in there. It's great. And so we're talking as part of this CTMD. Hey, look, there it is. And I know you mostly from Yiddish music, but I know that you've studied and performed in lots of other kinds of contexts. I mean, do you want to sort of just name a few or tell us a little bit about your experience and what you do have done as a musician?
Sure. Yeah, it's great to see you, Dan. Thank you
Yes.
for having me, and thank you, CTMD. And yes, I always had like what we can call the double culture or something. Like my dad is a musician, and I did the conservatory thing in France and in piano first and recorder. But then from age 6, I also studied the hurdy-gurdy and traditional Occitan music and for carnival and parades. And my dad was playing with people from all around the world. A lot of North African, a lot of Algerian, Egyptian music. And he plays himself the zarb, the Persian drums. So that was where I did my nap as a kid. So I was like in the drums. So I heard a lot of different music. And then I would say, I got obsessed with Klezmer as a teenager, like some of us.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, and moved to Paris for that. And also was obsessed with wooden flute, like recorders, and did a did a master degree in ethnomusicology about Klezmer, and like took that excuse to find a grant to go to Colombia for my graduate program and meet all the Klezmer New York and Yiddish singer in New York 12 years ago. And after that, I was playing in bands. So I had like early music bands, but also then always like Occitan and also Klezmer, and then moved to Romania and learned the kava, the Romanian flute and Moldavian flute.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, the kaval and the fluyer, and then came back to the US to play also with in New York. I wanted to just be able to develop a ton of different Jewish music and other always like play with different people, and I think improvising and with different people is always what inspires me anywhere I go. I'm awkward with words, so I prefer to just take an instrument and just play.
Which is funny because you're also a fantastic singer. What was it like growing up with all these different kinds of people and styles of music? Like looking back on it now, like what did you learn and what kind of things did you maybe like not notice, Like I think for me, I'm like, well, I grew up around like this, You know what I mean? Like, well, my life was like this, and then you realize how little you know, but then how much you know also somehow.
Yeah. Oh, I knew very little I mean, it was very rural France, right? I grew up in a
Okay.
village of like 15, a hamlet, 15 people, 15 people. And
What?
yes, so it was like, but so the Occitan music is what at first um, made me travel and meet different people, because we'll go play with Italian musician and Spanish and German. We went to like go for dance ball and play for Mardi Gras and parades, and but also, but then like that's the one I was playing other than classical. But then I really absorbed my dad, like he will bring people from all around the world, like and I would tour with him. He will take me on tour. He was the one taking care of me. So I absorbed all that music. So I thought like, but they were not much klezmer at all. Like they were not a ton of Jewish music. It was, yeah, a lot of more Middle Eastern, North African, like a lot of, because South of France has a big community and amazing musician. And so I think I thought that, and I listened also to jazz and like a lot, but definitely I knew nothing about jazz. And I still really don't know like much. And in New York, I love listening, but like, and there's a lot of like the music culture in New York that totally fascinates me, and that is so different. I guess for the thing you ask about like what I thought I knew and things I didn't know, I felt like I thought I was like around a lot of like different music and from like a wide range of things, but I was it took me a while growing up thinking how like figuring out how it was as also coming from French, being a French. It's when I arrived to New York and being a French from like a white privilege culture, and how it played out in all my childhood, being around. So still playing with mostly white people, and yeah, like so like it was all the also question in ethnomusicology that you ask yourself, like cultural appropriation and stuff. And also I thought I knew some about Jewish culture from my mom culture, which was mostly Israeli. My grandparents and aunt lived in Israel, but so the Yiddish I really knew almost nothing. Like so it opened up a ton of things, like getting to know people in New York. It opened a huge world, like the Klezmer, and being able to do political and music at the same time. That was very important, because I wanted to work from age 13. I wanted to work with also
that's
like
awesome.
social justice and music. I thought I was going to be a social worker, like for refugee and asylum seekers. So
gotcha.
yeah. So it was good to find a place where you can do like mix a little both things. And
sure.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Like it is interesting to me about how when it depends, I mean, wherever you are, but like let's say you're, for me, I was in Philadelphia and I thought I knew something about jazz, or actually, even with Klezmer, when I thought I knew something about Klezmer, but really I had one CD and a book. And why I thought I knew something about it, that's, who knows? Who knows why I thought that? But, you get into this, and when you get up close to a place where it's actually alive and diverse and all this different stuff is, and you realize, or like Yiddish culture, like from a certain vantage point, Yiddish culture is just a small part of Jewish culture, or it's just a part of Jewish culture. And then when you actually like zoom in, you realize that it's all these many things. Like it's secular folk song, it's protest song, it's language, it's literature, it's Hasidism, it's and then within Hasidism you have all these different things. there's Satmars and there's Lubavitch and there's, you know, Skver and all these different groups that might not talk to each other. Or and from the outside, you know, it doesn't look like these, it looks like such a smaller thing. It all looks like one thing, but actually it's made up of so many different things. And
So true.
you know, I'm thinking about, you know, I've met you probably around the time you moved to Romania, and then I've gotten to know you better as you've lived in closer to me in Philly, but you lived in New York, and like you talked about like moving to New York, and I was thinking about like one of the things that I started this whole like, you know, podcasting or interviewing people for was the idea that I was most inspired actually by being around other musicians who like were inspiring and hearing them, you know, they call it like the hang, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the hang, and I know we've had our hangs, and it makes a big difference. You know, it really bonds people. You think about things, you share ideas, music,
Yeah.
and one of the things that has been like really devastated by this coronavirus moment is the hang, right?
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
it's
Yes.
like, you know, there's no, not only are there no gigs to, to really play, but even if you do some kind of online performance, you're not going out to a restaurant or a bar with your friends afterwards, right?
Yeah, and
So
jam.
yeah, jam, or even just like, you know, just like shoot the shit and just like have a fun time, and maybe you say, hey,
Oh,
let's get together next week and try this project or whatever. You know, so
yeah.
much good music has come out of those kinds of situations. So one of the things that I think that we get to do here is just, I mean, we're sharing our connection, but I'd love to hear about like your experience with like those kinds of communities or like a scene, whether it's in New
Mm.
York or otherwise. But like, let's start talking about what's it like, you know, having sort of joined the New York and the greater North American klezmer scene, and what that means to you, and then see wherever else or other scenes that you want to talk about, wherever that goes. That's great.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, that scene, like joining this scene, was like finding a family and like and such like I don't know, like this. I would say, um, how did I first? Yeah, like I think the first time I came here, yeah, I knew like I interviewed first Pete Ruszewski. I think it was like for my master, so it was like that academic thing, but was
Right.
such not an academic. But uh, right away, yeah, the first people I met it was like Pete Ruszewski, then Zalman Rotek, and right and then I moved in here for 7 months, and like I think what grew me and really put me right in the scene, I mean, um, was also doing the Purim spiel with Adrian Cooper
Oh yeah.
as a musical director, and with Jenny Rumain. And that's Jake Schumann who told me about it. He used to be also a music. He had done it
Yeah, I
um,
think he and I
as a
must have done it together sometime. But yeah, that's really
yeah.
cool. What a
So
meeting place.
yes, so that was amazing, and right away, like the spectacle, and like there, I felt like, oh, this is so home. It felt so home, and I realized maybe a little after how like I was like, why am I so obsessed with klezmer? Like I had like 3 CD from the bus that came once a month in the village. You will have like you could pick 3 CD, and I had like one Yiddish song CD, one klezmer, the double disc, and I was like, that's all what I could hear, you know, like it was the music bus and they were the book bus, and that's it. What you say, I started with like 3 CD and then got a short or something, but uh, but when I entered that community, which was uh, yeah, like let's say, yeah, a home, because I think it with the coming from a double kind, I call it like hybrid culture. Like my mom is Jewish, I have her name, my last name, and my dad is not.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and but he's a musician, and it's just like a very summarized way of feeling also like the connection and the home is that when I was 14, my entire house went into fire, and like I left home. There were no room for me. Like I went with the neighbor, and then I was gone, lived with my friend, and never came back because it took months to. And I found in Klezmer, with the mix of my dad as a musician and my mom as a Jew,
Yeah, that's
and
what
the
I was
Yiddish.
saying. That's so
So
cool.
it was like, oh, perfect home. Like that's yeah. And then New York was doing those shows and working on like for months and months into making a spectacle with music and theater and all that, and political, like working with organization. It was like very good. Yeah. And then I was lucky to have the NYSCA grant. That was also one of the best things that happened to me in New York.
Cool.
With Ethel Reim. And
Yes.
like that I take as my Yiddish mommy. She adopted me, and same, not being far from family and everything. It's I really that it was such a loving community, and right away, I mean, you were at my wedding also, I think. We played, and it was like I felt like embraced and support and love, and like I felt there was so much like and so much interesting discussion also, and some what you say, like aside the music and the jam and it's so much interesting and really interesting, like political and also just discussion that like all the questions that I was like so thirsty of, like, and in France where I grew up, there were no one that I could really, where I grew up, there were no one that I could share that with, because we were the only Jewish people. Like there were in almost the entire county. Then I mean there were one little child that was saved in her 70s, but she didn't know much. She was also learning, but and being a Jewish person was such they didn't know much. My classmates and people around, it was like a alien thing. Ignorant, pretty, so it felt really home and great, and connecting with many different people, as you said, like the giant palette, the giant multifaceted of Jewish thing with the
Right. And that's one of the great things about New York, is that there's such a critical mass of Jews and different kinds of Jews that you can interact with this. And I think also because of that, you have things like, and then you just have leaders like Adrian and Jenny who are just fearlessly creating new culture, right? Like all of us who are interested in this culture, a lot of us are looking back and we are bringing things forward into the present all the time with like traditional songs or traditional music or ways of playing. You know, I mean, one of the things that I always think about is how the way that I learned to play klezmer is so different than if I had learned from a guy who had been playing klezmer in like the 60s, you know? It's just, it's changed so much. We've brought things into the present. We've brought new culture. I was thinking we could take, what if we, you know, you mentioned what was I don't know if I get the word right. The
Occitan
music. Yeah. And you started a group with some people in New York to do this stuff, or?
Right. The Fada, yes.
Did you teach them the music, or were they already interested in it, or what?
No, I taught them, They were,
cool.
I mean, I offer, no, I taught them, and and recently with Ali Denin and like the two singers that I work with, and Amy Kerrigan, that I record the album that I never released, but 4 years ago I recorded.
You know, I just in May I released an album with my friends that we recorded it 9 years ago, so there's still plenty of time.
Okay, good.
You can still do it, but
So
we have
it's
a video
language,
that you can check. We have a video we can share.
I would love to hear. Yeah, I would love.
This. Optimize for video. There we go. Boom. Oh, come on. Where is it? There we go.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
that's Ali
lovely.
Denin on the
Cool.
guitar
Yeah.
and singing. Yeah.
You sound great together. You know, it
Thanks.
made me think two things. One is that you, you kind of waltzed in to this klezmer thing. I mean, at least to the, let's just say to my world
Mm.
and the kind of music people I know about, singing great, playing great. Like you have a very easy, I mean, maybe it's the music, but I always think that you have a very easy, like it comes out of you very easily and smooth and nicely. It's great playing. And,
Thanks.
I was thinking about how me growing up in America and especially on the East Coast, and my upbringing was just like I played jazz, I played classical music, I played in high school, I played like Brazilian pop music and in jazz band and Latin music and all this stuff. Like the idea that you just did everything and you were this sort of cosmopolitan musician with all
Mm.
these different things was sort of the identity that was given to me, but that I also related to really strongly. And it's like, you know, I I would love for people to think of you in this way where it's like, oh, this expert in this different kinds of music or this performer, multi-instrumentalist, these
Mm.
things. And I don't know how you relate to, you know, doing these. Like I know for me, it's that I can go and be at home inside of one of these musics, and then I can also
Mhm.
go in home and be inside of one of these other musics, and then also I have this kind of like
Mhm.
thing that for me at least is connected with the avant-garde, but it isn't always for everybody, where it's you can be in between them and mix and match. And of course, I learned that not only from my own brain, but also through people in the klezmer world and in the New York, like downtown world. And I wonder how you relate to like these sort of identities or names that we put on ourselves: multi-instrumentalist, composer,
Mm.
educator, folk musician, folk practitioner. Like what are there's so many people use so many different words, and yet we're used to playing all together somehow. So I don't know, like how do you relate to that kind of stuff?
Oh, that's yeah. Um, that's a good question. Yeah. I think it's also like a personality thing. It's just a reflection of who am I as a human, like and yeah, like for sure, and yeah, like as I said, like the language, being able to play music with any person you encounter in any kind, like taking all the walls out. And I love avant-garde, yeah, for sure. Also, and um, like I think as a also person who grew up with a double culture, or like having parents like different very different background.
Mm-hmm.
um, um, I like that was like a statement from early on, like don't put me on a box, don't I and I don't like with also it's just like, oh, you're a klezmer, you're a musician, and just I'm like, no, don't do that. Like I will play with Rahman, like Uganda, Jewish player or something, or I can do Brazilian also. And yeah, I think like they feed each other. About, I think about everyone, any person to me is like a Arlecchino. We all Arlecchino from this character from the Commedia dell'arte.
No, I don't.
He's he's kind of maybe like a clown a little bit, but he has this. Actually, this I didn't prepare that, but it's like his clothes is made out of many diamonds of many different
Okay. Uh-huh.
colors. And so that's his character. He's like, and he has a mask, and he has many different diamonds of many different colors. And I think of each of us, we made of many diamonds of many colors, and it's just like Klezmer was on it, and then you can like that's the most fun thing in life to me is like getting to with a combo of art, like a group of different people, like shining one part of their one diamonds or one of their thing, and explore like that, just explore And yeah, music is international language. It's like just like I like, and trying to push and trying to be innovating. And I mean, a lot has been done. So I think to me also playing like really sticking and really as a mission of almost, I don't know why I have this like huge love for like the recorder and the hurdy-gurdy. It's like two of the most disregarded instruments in the world,
Yeah.
I think. And so I'm like, no, I want to show like with this little piece of wood with 6 holes, like you can like all those invisible also like or underestimated instrument, but it reflects also people like that, and just giving a voice and sing, even if it's not the loudest, it's not the most, it doesn't have that much possibility, but you can explore. So I don't know, it's like pushing the limit. Like I have that with also as a person, I will push the limit in a discussion sometime and get into
Very nice. Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you say like the undercovered instrument, or the, you know, the underappreciated instrument. I mean, you know, this is what's so funny is that I playing trombone, and I always think like it's a very underappreciated instrument in some ways, but it also doesn't have a place in so many cultures yet. And so, you know, for me, it's like a huge discovery when I find, for example, there's a guy in Turkey who plays this stuff, and he plays traditional Turkish music and modern Turkish music on trombone, and he's this very stylized, you know, non-classical, non-jazz way of playing, and it's so exciting for me. And you know, I've definitely, you know, I think we also, you know, like like, you know, we human beings naturally sort of expand into the places where they find space, right? So it's not as though you have that you have made bigger or smaller homes, or I've made bigger or smaller homes in the places where I found the most space. And it sounds like for both of us, Klezmer has been one of these large spaces where you know, it's almost like too much for this one talk to get into why that is, although I think it would be useful at some point for to sort of like almost maybe from an ethnomusicology perspective or something, like to talk about why the Klezmer tent has been so big or has been so useful for people like you and me. Um, but actually, you know, to use that as a little bit to segue back into the Yiddish music, like you talked about working with Ethel Rame, who's great and such a
amazing.
force of nature, you know, and and what was something that, like, you know, a mentorship, that's another thing that's really suffering right now, right?
Yes.
And and so yeah, like what was that like? Like let's bring some people into that experience.
Oh,
Bring us into that experience.
oh, yeah, that was such an amazing experience. Yeah, very Danish and comforting. Yeah, well, it was like one of those cocoon I found in New York. Like, yeah. After another one was the Joey Weisenberg Nigonim, like every Tuesday night.
Right.
Anyway, I'm switching. But
It's like families within families, right?
yeah, it was like when I first moved back here 8 years ago. I had Tuesday night was the Rude Mechanical Orchestra, the Radical Marching Band practice,
Yes.
and then going to at like 9 or 10 to the Nigonim with Joey Weisenberg, and just on the choir loft, very few people just improvising on Nigonim until like 11 or 12 with sometime whiskey and chocolates. Anyway, that was one experience, amazing cocoon that I feel so grateful to our friends Joey Weisenberg and everyone. The other amazing surprise and honor. It was I like as soon as I had a little money, I took few lessons with Ethel Rame. I couldn't afford much, and then she offered to do that Niska, and she said, you know, there's this grant, and you will have 40 hours or more, like
That's
for a
good.
year. Yeah,
That's a
so
lot.
it was like so it was like, okay, so for 1 year, like once a week, I will go to Lower East Side, like, yeah, close to Lauren Brody. What is it called? Another close to Washington Square, to this top floor, tiny, like, go up the first on the buzzer. They were Michael Alpert. I'm saying maybe too much info, but it's just like I was like all big mentor also, like that I grew up listening to Braver World dancing, and I was like, oh my god, this is dreamy. Arrive, and they were there. Ethel with her. Oh, do you see me?
Yep, you're back. All good.
Oh, okay, all good.
Did someone call you?
No, low battery. Oh man.
Oh, you got to plug yourself in.
Oh yeah, maybe I should call you, but
please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go for it. Go for it. Yeah, we don't want to lose the we don't want to lose
the yeah. Okay.
We got something going.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yes. Okay. I think I have it. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Important.
Beautiful.
Keeping your electronics charged is a very important piece of the quarantine. It's a very important skill in the quarantine. Okay, so you go up to the Ethel's top floor apartment.
Yes, like on the 6th floor or something, and there's this like huge, like this loft full of objects, like of gorgeous pottery and little things from all around the world. Like all the dishes are ceramic. That's actually, this is from one of them.
Cool.
From Ethel Raim, like, and she'll make tea. We'll sit around the table, the wood table, with all those gorgeous treasures, and very, like, it felt like home also as a countryside, very like that. So it smells good and it feels good, and then we'll sit around the table next to each other, and for 2 hours, 3 hours, take a song. She'll be like, so it's the a cappella repertoire that she told me, the unaccompanied repertoire. So she will sing me a song, be like, okay, let's, and with her gorgeous voice, very, she gets so many nicknames, right? The Scoop Queen, the embroidery, like all the subtlety of, like, it's like such a delectation. And for like, we will spend like 2 hours literally on just one song, like and again, and many other hours back, and like every single day I will come back, and it's like, oh no, like that, no, you tell a story, you're telling a story. And she really, and all those little things, like little ornaments and all those things, but mostly it does like the embodying, like what's the song saying, and very inspiring, like very, like, this work, it really felt like embroidery, like a very subtle, fine work, but with your voice, which I never, I did choir, and I had some voice lesson, like teacher, like, but that was such a different thing.
Yeah.
And I really entered, like, she made me discover all this work of all this world of, like, lullaby, but with so big story that reflect people's life in the whole country, but also often with the whole country, to Eastern Europe, or
it's okay.
You know, like, I never used that word. That's funny.
Funny. That's good.
Yeah, that's funny. They're the same age, I think. Years. Anyway, and the ballads, you know, like, and that reflects people's life, and that's what I loved in also ethnomusicology work, like all those songs that reflects people's stories and that you can learn from, and and it was a very much like maître à élève, master tools, like this passing one by one, so different than music school or conservatory.
Yes, it's the real mentorship relationship. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
and
that was
just
very...
So
especially.
great. Yeah. I
Yeah.
interviewed her at one point. It was just the most fun.
Oh yeah,
And I
listen
got
to
some,
it.
yeah,
That
oh,
was
yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
she gave a shout out to
She did give you a shout
Sibele.
out. And also
Yeah.
Sibila, whose shirt I'm wearing. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
this.
I
And
appreciate.
yeah, yeah, we've had some as a band. This is your band with Zoe
Yes.
Gigano and Zoe Aqua and Ira Temple and Eva Budman and you've who now lives a block away from me. Um
Oh right, that's right. Yeah.
and
Lucky you
we've
and
been
lucky
through
her.
some, yeah, right. Thank- we've been through some stuff together. Do you remember that show in Philadelphia?
Oh my God. Yes, that was amazing. Thanks.
Right,
Thanks for inviting.
the week after the shooting in the Pittsburgh synagogue.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
felt like the room was going to explode sometimes. That was so crazy. I
Yeah,
played
very
sousaphone.
intense.
That was really weird.
Yeah. Oh yes, you were playing Susan. That's a so great.
I kept
And
bumping
Max.
it against the ceiling.
Oh yeah, and I was on crunches. I was coming back from Brazil. It was so intense. The Pittsburgh shooting happened, and I was just coming back from Festival, the
Okay.
Klezmer
Yeah,
festival
yeah.
in which it was right. So
When
playing like 8 gigs every day in Sao Paulo, right around the election, like from the beginning
ah,
when we was there, Bolsonaro at the end got elected
that's
that day.
so intense. Oh my God.
Very. So
Ah,
they were, yeah, they
that
were,
was
yeah,
such
it was very intense, yeah, and the
oh
audience
my
was,
goodness.
but the Creative Islands, no, that's Baltimore,
Oh no,
the
it was the
the
folk song
folk
society,
system,
yeah. So
very, yeah, interesting at the end, so
yeah, yeah.
very,
Oh man. Oof.
yeah,
What a world.
yeah,
That was something else. But
yeah, the good old days, and
so
yeah,
yeah, I know, right? Back when you exercised your demons through live performance in community with people. Um
that's right.
so Sibylla has been a major vehicle for you artistically, right?
Yes, very much, yeah,
And
like
you
a
brought a lot
collective one.
of this work that you did with Ethel into that
Yeah,
group, right?
yeah. Yeah, actually, a lot of the at the beginning, a lot of the song were now we all sing almost all sing in the band, but at the beginning I was mostly the one singing, and a lot of them were those songs that I learned from Ethel that we arranged as a collective, and
Mm.
I mean some people were, yeah, like. Composing, like finding how to do new traditional music, like how to arrange and keep that beauty, but with a 5-piece band.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's a big
yeah.
deal. I mean, this is what, I love that you said new traditional music. That's it's
Mm.
the, it's this thing that, it's this sort of oxymoron that we love going for. We just can't keep from going for. And sometimes I actually think we succeed more often than not in some way. Because it's
Yeah,
just like, I mean, we should talk
I
about that a
agree.
little bit later, but we do have a video clip from you all from the Ashkenaz festival with some super special guests.
Oh my
Um,
goodness,
and is
mentors.
this Svelfa Zeger? Is that from this? Did you learn that from Ethel or through the work of
Yes,
Ethel?
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
That's
A
cool.
nine verses long story about a crime. A guy who kills a woman because she doesn't want to tell. Like she's like, my mom doesn't want you to be my partner,
Mm.
and he kills her, and then, yeah, it's a beautiful like lullaby song from Ukraine, a story. And of course, he kills her because he's angry that she said no, and then try to kill himself, but he misses himself. That's so. And then the mom is like the message. It's such a heavy song. Also, the mom tell us, "Oh, my good friend, listen to me, please. I have an advice. Don't tell your children who they should love or not, because
Oof.
I didn't want to go to a wedding, so I went to a funeral." I don't.
Payoff.
Yes,
Payoff. Yes.
that's it.
That's
It's way
it.
too long. That's a long video though, so I don't know. You
You
want to
know
do
what?
the end
Maybe
or the
let's skip.
beginning?
We could even just skip around a little bit. Let me get
Yeah,
it going.
this
And
amazing solo in the middle.
oh, we should put on a little bit of that. So yeah, this is like from the Ashkenaz Festival in Toronto, which sadly is not happening in this September. And Sibylla is sort of, you can see them from the bass on down, and then on the other side of the stage you have Susan Watts on trumpet, Rachel Lemish on trombone, and Marilyn Lerner on piano. And this was sort of a super group concert you know, I think. But this is all you do in one of your songs, and I do love this song. And this one's available on the album It's Dark Outside, which you can still get at Bandcamp. Let's listen a little bit.
Spät bei Nacht, wenn alle Menschen schon schlafen gehen, kommt Bernhard zu ihrer Welt. Will schon wissen, ja zu nehmen. Ich such dir nicht ja, ich such dir nicht näher. Mein Mama, lass doch mehr mit dir nicht gehen. Mein Mama, tut doch mir mein Leben stehlen. Ich soll vor dir nicht kein Kalle werden. Mein Mama, tut doch mir mein Leben stehlen. Ich soll vor dir nicht kein Kalle werden. Also wie Bernhard dort aus der Herd, schein ist gewesen entschlossen, Arois gehabt und dem Revolver, in hat Rebellen erschossen. Also wie hat sie erschossen, also ist gefallen, wie allein ausgedreht und dem Revolver in Hotzen der Schossen sehr allein. Sehr allein.
Yeah, you can skip to the end.
Right.
Maybe 6, 7 minutes.
All right, let's try 6.5.
Yes. Suzanne solo.
Okay, we gotta go a little bit more. Here's Watch from Philadelphia.
Woo!
Ain't nobody like it. Now we're firmly in like our sort of like modern jazz vibe.
It's amazing.
Let's go right. Let's go. Oh, you got the flute out. I like that.
Yeah,
Such a nice texture. It's such a nice texture in there.
Thanks.
That's around some solos.
Yeah.
Nice transition.
It's not done. It's not over.
Meine Gitte frei, nimm sich für mir ich hab nicht gewollt, gehen sie dich hiebe. Gejecht sie der Ledweihe. Ich hab nicht gewollt, gehen sie dich hiebe. Gejecht sie der Ledweihe.
Wow. Yeah, I was so okay. So let's keep free associating on this. I was thinking about how much translation or transposition is going on in this. Hold on one second. About to get another video. I don't need that. Is like so you have there's so many different things that are happening. First of all, you have like uh Yiddish folk song at a Klezmer festival, whatever. We know that's weird but you got to be really insider to know that's weird somehow. But you have the unaccompanied song being made into an instrumental arrangement. You have and then you have like people on stage. You have a group of all women instrumentalists, which I think for the tradition is like you're seeing, or well, women and non-binary people, but non-cis male or instrumentalists. Like
Yeah.
it's a situation that also is kind of different in a way, and just like there's so much transposing going on there, and it's like, you're like, well, we've taken this thing and now we're putting it in a new light. We've taken this thing and now we're doing it in a different way. And we're taking this thing. I mean, obviously that's too much in the moment. You're just kind of doing your thing, but like, what's it like to being at the center of like a lot of those kinds of transformations or transpositions or whatever you want to call them?
It's like, again, very inspiring, and like that's even if it's hard work, like the collective. That's what I love with Tibet also, is that it was there was this that band having like a more collective, like not band leader thing like Fada, or I don't know, like I'm also in Needwood that has like more band leader, like Jake Schulman is leader, and that's like more psychedelic rock sometime, or like electro, Klezmer and Yiddish. But
you all were that's the last live music that I saw, I think.
Oh my goodness, yes, we were. Oh, me too. Oh no, I saw one gig in Paris.
We played one more set after. We played one more show after that, like the next week. But that was of watching music. That was it. That was the end.
Yeah, that was my last jam with you and everyone. Oh, that was amazing.
Right.
First festival. That was really, for last gig. It's pretty dreamy. Like
I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, very a lot of fun.
So being in a collective,
so it's so different. Like the space that there is, like it takes way more. Like that takes. It's like for. It takes way more. You get way more emails, like, and there's a lot of food time to talk about the music around food and eating and talking and sharing, and it's a different approach of music. But then you have so much more space for like incorporate like. With Sibele, they were always the thing. I mean, the band started not to play like. It was not playing with, oh, let's do a non-male band. Right. It was like, oh, we are friends, we neighbors, most of us were neighbors, and we love the same music, so let's play. And then it was like, oh, how to put this tradition and put some new composition in it, and but in a musical language, and using the sort and having that space, like being all equal, like have all this space for experimenting new sound, and how to make those lullaby, like these a cappella things. I love playing a cappella, and I try to often, as much as I can, in any band or anytime I could, in any venues or opportunity, I will try to sneak in one a cappella song. But then for the world we live in, with so much sound and so much, and like everything is so like processed, and like, food is processed, but the music is processed too, and it's like everything is like polished and thing, and New York, it's like this is busy, like busy sound, and so interesting, but like always like a lot of ear. It's hard to get to just a simple voice, a melody that repeats for many verses, sometimes
Right.
they have
Yeah, it's a
14
really
verse,
different.
very repetitive, right? And so how to embrace the melody and like make it because it's very like there's no much harmony. It's not like there's it's like jazz and you can put, I mean we could do that, we could put a ton of jazz chords in it and complex arrangement with tons of chords, but those like more drony and more simple and finding I mean you do the same work also, like
Yeah,
making
of course.
it like for each song what can reflect like musically what's the story of the vocals, so like, again it's a story. So Eva, for this one, Eva Bunman wrote a little bit the second interlude, and Zoe Aqua did the first one.
Oh, nice.
And the second one goes then into improvisation, but they like had like an interlude, and that I think really enlightened the where the mom is like where the feeling and the emotion in the song, like, and where is it so
right. Yeah, well, it just makes me think like, you're a collective, so you're putting all these musical aspects into it, but it's still part of telling the story of the song, but just now with 5 of you as opposed to just one person, or
exactly
and that's so interesting. I mean, it's so a cappella, like lullaby or ballad singing is just, it's so different than our normal lives these days, like it just really is.
Yeah, you don't have just one melody. Yeah, nothing is like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So okay, speaking of our lives these days, like what's I like to ask people what have your successes been in this time, because it's really, we spend an awful lot of time thinking about the challenges, but like have you had any successes in this?
Successes, it's always such a funny world, but I'm American now, so I can say like I do understand like success as like something that also is enjoyable, right? That it's like that like it's
like something you might call a victory, like
victory.
For me, I managed to
tell me
to do this piece with my students in my ensemble for Temple University. We did this piece on Zoom, and we figured out we could only have about 5 or 6 people making noise at one time, and if one person was too loud, everything would go haywire. And so we practiced playing on Zoom, and you couldn't play in rhythm together, so you do all these things, and we got Cookie Siegelstein, a violinist, our friend, to come in and teach us a couple of phrases, and then we built this piece around it that I was improvising the arrangement in the chat. In the Zoom chat, so it's like so and so stop now, so and so get louder, and we did it based around a drone and stuff like that. And it just, I remember the first time we tried it, one of my students just said, "Hey, we just made music together." And it was
that's amazing.
So it's like that kind of something that feels like, something that feels like where it's like the darkness of all the things that are encroaching. I mean, this would be sort of like the movie version, and then the light kind of comes and floods through for a moment, So what do you got? You got anything?
What do you got? Yes, I got beginning of the pandemic. They were like a really fun succeeding to make a show, be part of a show. They were for Passover. It was like a Passover draglesque show, like a burlesque theater show with like 2 groups of people. Also the Schmutzig Mates, the ensemble based in Baltimore, and the Turner Hall. They do like Yiddish and like in Boston, and they so with Zoe Aqua and Eva Bunman, we succeeded to do like a show, a Passover, like a full show with like I got to play hurdy-gurdy. It was like moving from the Zoom, like telling the story, but with some dance and music and interlude. We couldn't play together, of course. Right. So, but they were like some trumpets, mini interlude, hurdy-gurdy, but it had a glue. We even if we actually didn't meet with this is new collaborator, like that was a one-time collaboration for now. I hope later there will be more, but it had a connection, it had a thread, and it told the story, and they were, so that felt like good, that felt really successful. And and then you hit the leave the meeting button, and it's like you're learning such a weird thing. But that was a success, I would call. And also being able, because it's like in the middle of like such a big storm in my life, like moving. Also, I was moving and stuff, and I was able to do a Brooklyn Library program show about with Jake Schumann, also with the hurdy, the flute, the accordion, and I'm playing on this one also accordion. But it was like this Brooklyn Library program for families and grown-up about for the Jewish American Heritage Month in May, I think June, and it was like making this 40 minutes video that has like a story, making it like accessible also for 5 and 6 years old.
Wow. And
like talking about like a journey of like with including like based on the Jewish music I've been playing, but and it was like I found, so I had to like, you know how we always have it's too like we this pandemic especially, but in general, being a musician, we need to have so many different hats, right?
Right.
Administration hat and like sound engineering hat sometime, or
totally.
You know, like agent hat and teacher hat or educator, or I don't know, like so many different. And for me, the video editing, like and the show, like a performance with some storytelling and theater, but on my own, like doing everything. I've been working with theater company and put on music, but being the one actually making the story, and it was a success. Also, it was very nice. We based it on the Metamorphosis of the Melody, a tale by wow, now I'm like, I think it's Sholem Aleichem. Wow, is it Peretz or no? Sholem Aleichem.
Good.
Anyway, but like our journey, because with Jake, we like for 12 years also, like for 6 years before moving back to New York, I moved, changed countries every 8 months maximum for 6 years, but sometimes it was like 2 months, 3 months, you know, like, and so playing with many different people, like now I can do it. I see that New York, you can do it in the same city, but I was doing it in many, I was just moving around. And so being able to share that with the Brooklyn, like for the library, such a different kind of audience also, and showing, like talking about like recording also with like Iraqi Jewish people and Moroccan Jews, and making it a fun experience with the Prince Nazarov story, like making it like, oh, it's a treasure, but like it was fun, and
that's good.
And and I had my first commission also. I was for a composition or something during the pandemic, thanks to Philip Fade, one from the Brazil Klezmer Festival, which I want to say, I don't know, like, can I do a shout out for like, there's for anyone who listen and who is part of the, can like compose or sing, there's the Bobby Awards. You heard about it, right?
Yeah, I did see about that. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we can get if I put this out as a podcast, we can when I do that, we can put a link in the show notes if it's still going on by then. Probably it will be all right. Well, this is, I mean, so it sounds like, you know, this is the thing. Music keeps going, right? Culture keeps going, and community keeps going, and it maybe takes a little bit extra of energy, but who knows, you know? And
also I didn't talk about, but like with all the Black Lives Matter, and the police brutality thing that started with George Floyd shooting and all the other one unfortunate and terrible things happening. I've been going also to protest, and I have to say most of them, like, I mean, every day, it's every day, right, in New York. And I will go and play some drum, like you couldn't do, but I mean, with a mask and thing, with distancing, but there were a lot of, there's some protests, a lot of them had music, actually. There were also a drum one at Grand Army Plaza that had, like, I would see people from our community of, like, the days that you will, like, at some venue, you will meet, I don't know, like all the Caribbean player and all the Afro-American player, and like we will jam, and I played the spoon sometimes, like some of them I was playing the Romanian spoon, like, and doing on my thing. I had like bruise for like this because it was like drumming with amazing drummer and singer also.
That's great.
Also, like Dominica, she's a flutist, but also Brazilian people, like Colombian, that was amazing for like 3 or 4 hours every day, every Thursday. That was the one, but you can make music still. It's outside, and with the distance, everyone had mask and playing just drum and some chant, but not. That was also, it felt like a good thing that you can still do some, like, whatever feels safe to people, but
that's great.
That's great. And the last success, I would say, I mean, or like just project, like now, being lucky that I can go outside and have amazing musician play with. Like I've been thinking more of like doing like maybe duets, you know, like smaller thing, right?
Yeah, of course. This is
right.
This is where we're at.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, I'm lucky. I used to live this movement, but I was also, from early on, I organized where I was living. There were a porch, so I did some music jam with.
I saw videos of that. It looked so fun.
Yeah, with Ilya as neighbor and Sarah. Yeah, Ilya Schneevis and Yoshi came and Sarah Mason and
cool.
Some Winograd came. Well,
Michael, you know, New York's a big place, but you still need neighborhoods, right?
Yes.
It's important, and it's really great. So
yeah, that was really fun, and people, that was beautiful to see neighbor. I met so many neighbors with like kids playing from their balcony, joining and dancing on the jam, and
oh, that's great.
Playing some Italian song for the neighbor and some Bangladesh on the right, and it's like it's very fun. I love New York for that. New York still has some magic for sure.
Oh yeah,
still,
definitely. I mean, you
still,
know,
the people are magic. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, we did talk about the last maybe as a goodbye, a way to go. The last project I did was with this musician for my friend who did a play. Like, she can't do the play in the theater, but they did with the queer art mentorships show and tell. They were reading, and she wanted some. It's like a story in south of France, but with she's from Algerian French heritage, but she wanted some music soundtrack. I think I sent you the intro of the show, which is just with a drum, like a frame drum trip. Or what's his last name? He's a new collaborator at his last name. I should say, I don't. Oh, I will find it. Dudley. Trip Dudley with a tabla player and also fine drum.
Cool.
So,
well, we can listen to that.
So that was a little collaboration for theater.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dan.
I know, right? It's
Such
really
a
nice.
pleasure.
Is this gonna play? Uh-oh. Let's try it again. Ha, ha,
Yeah.
ha, 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 ha. We can do it. There we go. You can hear that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks so much, Eleonore.
Thank you. And that's on the cover of the
Oh,
Romanian.
yeah, we'll hear in a second. Yeah, that's so great. So, Eleonore Weill, you are a shredder. You rip on those instruments. Sounds so good. And it's always great to talk to you and get to hang and share stuff, share some
Thank
time.
you.
So, I can't wait
So
to see
good.
what's next.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dan. It's been so fun and great to hang with you and
Yeah.
talk and share. And I can't wait to listen your new music also.
Whew.
Yeah. We'll keep
right.
going.
Let's
And
stop.
keep
We will
going.
keep going. That's right.
We're
Let's
gonna
stop the
keep on.
recording.
Yes. And thank you to all the CTMD people also.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.